For years, the heartbeat of Nigeria's economy, our vibrant ports, have faced various challenges, from bulk paperwork to frustrating delays leading to a significant drain on our national revenue. But a new dawn is breaking. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, through a recent resolute directive, has ordered the swift implementation of the National Single Window Project at our ports, a transformative initiative poised to revolutionize trade, plug revenue leakages, and unleash our export might. Today, we are not just talking about policies, we're delving into the practical implications with someone on the front line of Nigeria's export ambition. Joining us virtually from Port Harcourt is Mr. Ofun Udofo, a leading voice in the export sector who understands the current bottlenecks and passionately champions the vision of a more streamlined, transparent, and prosperous trade environment. Mr. Udofo, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me. How's Abuja?
Abuja is lovely. Thank you for asking.
Okay.
Let's dive right in then. As an exporter yourself, what are your initial thoughts and expectations regarding the President's directive for the swift implementation of the National Single Window Project? How do you foresee it impacting your daily operations?
Yes, I'm very happy that the President has pronounced this. And I'm also happy he has a political will to bring this to bear. But I have mixed feeling of sadness and joy. Joy in the sense that I'll be very happy if it is properly implemented, and sadness in the sense that if it is poorly implemented, we'll go back to where we were. The policy is very good. It will help in the simplification of trade, as it were, it's too cumbersome. Even when there are a lot of policies, the custom licenses, the Odugu and the rest are coming in, but this is a platform that will put everybody on the same page, that you can do a seamless trade. It will help us in tracking our metrics, the volume of cargo leaving this country. It will reduce informal trade. And as a matter of fact, it will also help us to reduce unreceipted payments at the ports. And all the agencies that are involved should be, all hands should be on deck to make this happen, so that it will work as it's happening in other countries. If you can see it happening in Tema Port, you go to Mombasa Port, it's seamless. It will reduce the traffic in the port. So I am so happy with Mr. President, and pray that we all will put our hands, that there will be no bottlenecks any longer if this is done. It's a very good initiative that will help us in the ports.
Still talking about bottlenecks, how would you believe the single window would address challenges like processing time, documentation, and multiple agency transactions?
Yes, when you are in the port and you're having a face-to-face contact with some agencies, there's a delay, there's a demand. That's why I talk about unreceived payment. But when you are in front of your laptop or your computer, you are doing all your declaration to them, and you are issued a single declaration form showing what you are carrying. Then, as at that point, if what you are carrying is what you declared, nobody talks to you. It's just a matter of click to tell you that your cargo is gone, or you have a case to answer. And that same case, you still answer it from the comfort of your home or from the comfort of your office. You have no business meeting NAFDA, you have no business meeting custom, you have no business meeting SON and the rest, all the agencies that are involved. So this will really reduce the bottleneck, because there will not be face-to-face contact with exporters, with agencies at the ports.
Costs. What are some of the hidden costs or unofficial fees that exporters currently incur? And how do you expect the single window to eliminate all of this significantly, or to reduce them if possible?
And if I'm moving my cargo to the port, maybe for instance, the One ports, and I've done all my declaration, and my cargo is just going with the driver. And like at the port, most of the time, before you enter the port, at the gates, they'll ask you to pay some money. Even before you finally send your cargo, for each 40-foot container, you pay an unrestricted payment of 40,000. I wouldn't mention the agency, they know themselves. And that goes on and on and on and on until you deliver your cargo. But when the single window is working, you don't have an interface. If there's any query and they put it there, every other agency will see it. So I think that will really help us, and it will help the exporters, because you see, the mistake we make is that in export, the moment you're giving your price to your buyer, you cannot shift the price. Rather, in import, you can afford to pay more and share the entire expenses to the entire masses in Nigeria. So this will really help us reduce our expenses and make our product to be competitive internationally.
So let's talk about, let's move on to talk about the volume of exports Nigeria from the ports. How would you say this particular policy would improve that, the volume?
Yes, because why are people doing informal export? One, they look at the issue of documentation because it is not simplified. They look at issues of unreceived payments, and they will now decide to go through the land borders unrecorded, informally. For instance, I want to take the example of the East here. A lot of informal trade is happening in Calabar, it's happening in Akwa Ibom, that is Oron, Mbo, Ibaka, and even at Mvom border between Cross River and Cameroon. So why are they doing this? Because they feel you will not have to entertain custom, you don't have to encounter that the sound, NAFDA, and the rest, and the cumbersome nature of documentation. So most of them now take this thing informally. But if this is addressed, and even their children can help them on the computer to do their documentation without interference with anybody, it will increase our volume of trade. All the unrecorded trade that goes informally will then become formal. So it's a good way of making informal trade formal. Just like also when you go to the Northeast, through Boronu, when you go to Giwa market, a lot of traders are leaving that place to Sudan and the rest of the countries informally. So when this is done, that before you even go to the border, you would have done your documentation in your own environment. So it will really increase the volume of our trade and give us the trade data. And excuse me to say this, most of our trade data are gotten internationally because as it's entering that country, it is recorded. But when it is leaving Nigeria, it's not recorded if it's living informally.
If you understand this, the single window aims to align Nigeria with global best practices in trade. How important is this for expanding? How important will this be for expanding market access, especially with benefits, especially with initiatives like the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement?
Yeah, the single window will actually help us in trade expansion because it will make buyers, foreign buyers, to have confidence in us. Because when you are declaring, there will not be issue of so much issue of what we call concealment and the rest. So it will really increase, you make them to have trust in our product. And again, all our agencies like the NAFDAC, SON, Quarantine, and the rest will sit up. The fumigation department will sit up because they know very well anything you declare, there will be consequence. I just want to believe that in this single window policy, there should be consequence. People should be brought to book. If Dr. Odofia, export any product and it's concealed and I should be punished. If any customer officer is getting involved, should be punished. So when there's consequence, everybody will sit up and the entire world, even including the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, they will take us serious. Otherwise, it should just be that we are only celebrating opportunity and without taking advantage of it.
You just talked about how we are to make people accountable for what they have actually done. Let's talk about the directive. The directive is barely clear. What potential challenges do you anticipate in implementing the directive of the single window project from an exporter's perspective? For example, technical glitches, user adoption, resistance from certain quarters, integration with existing systems, and so on.
Yes, I'm so happy when you are giving all the news highlights, you just shown us where we are signing a contract and we are getting some finance from a World Bank. That's a laudable thing. And I'm happy to, just very close to my office, MTN came the other day to talk about optic fiber cable. That will be our major issue because if you are working online and your network is down, it might be a very big problem. So I want government to invest mostly on that and then also train people more, set up a lot of cyber cafe with strong network, because that's one of the major challenges I am seeing. Besides that, the next thing is that I am very happy because it's like the president has the political will to do it. The moment that is put in place and people are made to take responsibility of what they do, I think this will go a long way in helping us.
You just mentioned for the long term, beyond the initial implementations, what measures do you think are critical to ensure that long-term sustainability and effectiveness of the single window in continuously improving trade facilitations?
Yes, it's one thing to put a policy, and it's one thing to bring both the practitioners and the government agencies, the civil servant, they say disconnect between people in government and people in the public sector. When there's a buy-in and everybody is on the same table, the shipping line, the terminal operators, the exporters, the importers, the customs, and everybody in the ecosystem have come to say, yes, we do, just as in marriage. It is difficult, yes, we know we have divorce, but it's difficult for us to go back and say we don't agree any longer. They should take their time to make sure that all the critical stakeholders are there, mostly the owners of the cargo. That's a mistake we always make.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Odofia. I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you for your insights this morning.